Hey guys, it's Dustin, and thank you for parking your butt with me. Welcome back to the Park Your Butt podcast. We are officially 1 month in since the start of this podcast and weekly consistent uploading. I'm honestly very surprised with myself, but also very proud of myself that I've made it this long because um I'm just not a very consistent person when it comes to uploading anything, like at all. But so far, this past month, I've been kind of killing it, I think. I've uploaded 2 YouTube videos. I've uploaded 4 podcasts if we include this episode. I've been posting weekly on Instagram and doing reels and stuff like that. Like I've really been killing that, which I'm very surprised about because my original plan was just to focus on Instagram and short form stuff. So the fact that I've been uploading even more than that consistently is kind of crazy to me. Granted, although my work goals with social media and stuff have been kind of doing well, I will say my other goals have been slacking. It's the end of January now, and my New Year's goals have been I can't say I've been failing them because I have been working at them. It just hasn't been as strong of a start as I would like it to be, which maybe is good because I feel like sometimes when you start off really strong, it can be hard to sustain. But I don't know. I just kind of think with New Year's, like I want to start off stronger. So far I've just felt kind of lackluster and like I've been slowly nicking at all my goals, but I haven't been like attacking them fully. And like every day hasn't been like a killer day, which I guess is like unreasonable to have like every day be a successful day. I have good weeks, I have bad weeks, which I guess is a normal part of life. But I want to try to figure out ways to have consistently good weeks for most days, most weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to terms of like fitness, like some weeks I have really good fitness weeks. Other weeks I have kind of like this past week, I only worked out like twice and went climbing once when usually I would work out like 4 to 5 times and and climb twice. So even though this past week I did get some exercise done, it's not as much as I would like. And it's kind of been on and off, especially with my fitness goals and also my music goals too. A big goal of mine this year is to work on music, and I feel like I've been slacking on that so much. It doesn't help that my guitar string broke, so I have to get that fixed. But also, I feel like I just haven't been in the right mindset or had the inspiration for music, which really sucks. So right now, I'm like working on very slowly working on music and like some songs that I've written already in the past, but I don't know. It's what I've noticed is like it's very hard now that I don't live in LA to work on music. When it comes to working on music, it's strictly just on my own. When I was in LA, like I had sessions, I had people around me to work with where it kind of put a little bit more pressure, a little bit more of a time deadline and a flame under my butt to get things done, work on it. And now it just doesn't feel like there's any due dates. It feels very just like it's up to me whenever I want to. So I don't feel like a lot of pressure. Only creating by myself is kind of difficult. I don't know, it just feels very restricted. I can write, but I feel like having other people around me to play the guitar, come up with some cool chords for me to write over really helped a lot. But anyway, I'm not going to get too much into that. But pretty much, I need to sit down and reevaluate. I think that's a really good thing to do if you are a person who is trying to stay consistent with their goals and trying to actually achieve things this year and not just like make a New Year's resolution and forget about it. So every single month, you should sit down and really evaluate your goals, see what's working, see what's not working. Maybe your goals have slightly changed, then just recognize that. And I think that's a good way to keep up with your goals. So that's what I'm going to do this month. This month, it's only the first month. I'm not going to shit on myself too much because, I have gotten some things done. I have achieved some things this month. So I'm also the type of person who's just never satisfied. Like, even if I check off like a lot of things on my to-do list, if there's one thing left over that I didn't do, I will think I did nothing that day. Like, I've never ended a day and been like, wow, very satisfied with my day, which I think is bad for me. I need to become like a half glass full person where, oh, at least I did all these things. And also this week, to try to help, I only wrote like a few to-dos each day to hopefully make my brain register once I check everything off like it's been a successful day. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm going to do a short little weekly update. I was going to recap a lot of things I did this past week, but Honestly, I think I'm just going to save that for the extended because today I'm doing a story time in celebration of an official month of this podcast. I thought I would give you guys a juicy story time. I don't know what the title of this video is going to be because I don't know if I have to title it something discreet so I don't get flagged or something. Don't really know the guidelines when it comes to YouTube. I'll save the weekly update for later. But a short little weekly update. This week was fine. It was okay. I had a fun weekend. I went to an estate sale with my friend and we went to a cafe and it was cute. It was cute. It was a cute week. Emotionally, kind of whatever. There's been negativity this past week, like negative energy, which I'm like that's really annoying. But other than that, I think overall it's been an okay week. I need to reevaluate some things like I was talking about before. Not just my goals though, just in life stuff. That's so broad, but maybe I'll get into it in the extended episode that I'll post later on Patreon, which I guess Patreon plug. If you guys want to subscribe to my Patreon, I do weekly episodes of the podcast every single week after I'm done filming the original episode that goes up on Spotify and YouTube. I keep filming for 30 more minutes and I post the extra 30 minutes onto Patreon every week. So basically you get an extra like 30-minute episode every single week. I'm just like talking about a bunch of random things. I spill a lot of stuff on Patreon just because there's some stuff I feel more free to share on there with a little bit more privacy, you know? And I spill a lot of tea on there. I spill a lot on there. No filters really. And I think it's fun. It's just fun to gab. It's a bit more chill. It's a bit more relaxed. And so if you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon, check that out. And also for my Getting Deep in the Passenger Seat segment, I get my questions off of there. So if you have any questions you want to ask me to answer in the episode or any advice you want to get or whatever, it's on there. And also there's like bonus already content and previous podcasts I did before I even started this podcast and videos and stuff like that I've already posted on there previously that you can check out as well. Today I'm presenting you guys with a story time. This might be kind of out of left field. You guys might not have expected this. I also feel like this is the type of story time that I usually would just share on Patreon, but you know what? We're sharing it today for it's a special episode. Okay, we're 4 episodes in. We're a month into consistent uploading. We're a month into the podcast. You guys deserve this. I think it's a fun story time. I haven't told the story in a very long time, so hopefully my story time skills or my storytelling skills are still up to par. I might be a little bit rusty, but you know what? I think either way, it's gonna be fun. Also, it's legalized now. I live in California. I literally smell Mary Jane and I'm like, wow, it smells just like home. Like, no joke, when I was abroad this past summer, every time I would smell weed, I would be like, smells like home. That reminds me of home. Which is crazy because I actually used to hate the smell. It used to make me gag, and I still kind of think it smells gross. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think over time, and of course living in California my entire life, I've just gotten used to the smell. And now it's still gross to me, but it's still kind of a bit nostalgic. It's kind of a bit like, oh, home. So yeah, basically I'm going to tell you guys a story time of how I got high for the first time and how I smoked weed for the first time. And honestly, it's probably the only time I've ever done it, which you guys will soon be learning why, because it wasn't the greatest experience. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the greatest experience. So it was my one and only time basically doing it. Actually, I will say, this past summer, I did take my first hit of a joint since I was 18 years old, which was crazy. And that was because I was going through a rough time where I got let on for 3 months, and I was at a party, and someone had a joint, and I was like, you know what? Can I take a hit of that? And yeah, so that's kind of why. And that was my first time smoking weed since I was 18. But that was only one hit, and like obviously it didn't really affect me or anything. Like nothing happened. And then I feel like, I did hit it one more time when I was hanging out with my friends when I came back home from my travels. But other than that, like those are the only times I've ever smoked. And in the past 2 times this past year, it was only one hit and like felt nothing. Literally felt nothing. It was more just for the vibe. It was just for the vibe, you know what I mean? But nothing actually happened. Like I didn't feel anything. But when I was 18, I definitely felt something. Let me tell you. Let's just get into it. So let's start from the beginning. Let me set the scene. Picture this. It's 2020, 2021, okay? Circa 2020, 2021. I'm 18 years old. It's COVID times. It's probably actually 2021 because I feel like 2020 was way more strict and 2021 would make more sense. So it was probably 2021. I was 18 years old. And I'm hanging out with my friends, some of my friends in high school. We're sitting in the car, we're chatting, and somehow we come up with the idea because they've all I think we were talking about smoking and drugs and stuff like that, and they've all smoked weed before. And I didn't. And I think an important thing to know about me is that I am not a huge substance person. I did not drink in high school. I did not smoke in high school. And even to this day, while I do drink occasionally, I don't drink very often. It's very like maybe max once a month, depending on the era of my life. Because obviously when I was traveling abroad, I was definitely drinking on a weekly basis. Depending, is it Halloween? You know what I'm saying? Is it Halloween? Is it New Year's? Then I'm gonna drink. Obviously for holidays, I'm gonna drink. Stuff like that. But on a weekly basis, like January, nothing's happening. I haven't drank this month or anything. I'm just not, I just don't, I like having control over my body. I don't like losing myself. I think I have control issues if we're being honest, but also I just think I've always just been that type of person, Red Ribbon Week, Red Ribbon Week. I feel like I'm the only person that Red Ribbon Week actually affected. Am I the only one that still remembers that when we would tie the ribbon onto the gate and like promise that we're not gonna like smoke cigarettes or something like that? Does anyone else remember that? But I feel like I'm the only one that actually stuck to their word. I'm the only one that actually stuck to their promise. And not only that, but I was also that kid in high school with their friends where it's like, guys, like, let's not drink. Like, let's just chill and hang out and stuff. And for the most part, I stuck around with a group of friends that was kind of like-minded like me. So we didn't until we graduated and stuff like that, which honestly I have no regrets about. I feel like, especially when you're in your 20s, drinking is just such a big part of the culture that I'm glad I didn't go crazy when I was a teenager, because even now I feel like I'm starting to get sick of it. Like I only seriously started drinking when I turned 21, and I'm only 22 now. So, and the fact that I'm already burning out from it, I think says a lot. But honestly, maybe that's good for me because then I can like, I don't know, alcohol is obviously literal poison for your body. Like not even, no shade, but like literally like scientifically, like it is not good for your body. It ages you if you drink a lot. It's literally not good for you. So maybe it's good that I'm getting tired of it and getting out of the era or whatever. But that being said, basically I was not a huge drug person. I didn't smoke. I've never hit a vape to this day, and I stand by that. Guys, stop vapes 2025, please. Ugh, I hate vapes. It like if you're gonna smoke, at least smoke a cigarette. At least look cool, at least look artsy. That being said, maybe don't smoke cigarettes either. But I'm just saying, you look like you're sucking a baby bottle pop. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's like vapes are so ugly. I hate vapes. Stop vaping. It's gross and ugly. And worst of all, it's ugly. And worst of all, it's not aesthetic. And also stop smoking cigarettes too, while we're at it. Guys, Red Ribbon Week, come on. Like, it's actually crazy to me that we as a generation had the opportunity to stop smoking, and then we proceeded to suck on these colorful vapes. Like, what? What? Because, oh, yummy, yummy, tastes like cotton candy. What? That's so crazy and so sad. And actually, I think after this past summer, I've kind of developed a bad habit of having a little drunk ciggy. I guess it's better than smoking a cigarette every day and chain smoking, but still, I'm trying to stop myself from that too. Because, like, I feel like that's also just a bad habit to develop, that's like gonna develop. I don't do it too often. And when I do, it's usually just like one little puff, and then I give it back to whoever I borrowed it from, and then I'm good. But even then, I don't even want to put that thing next to my lips, you know what I mean? And I used to be so afraid of cigarettes, and even putting on my lips unlit, I feel like I would feel grossed out. Since I went to Europe, I got so much secondhand smoke. Previously, I used to gag at smoke and like hold my breath every time I passed by someone smoking, to consuming so much secondhand smoke where now it kind of smells good to me, which is very concerning for me, because I liked when I was repulsed by it, because that meant I would never smoke a cigarette. But anyway, that might be hot take. I don't know. In general, I feel like one of my biggest hot takes is when it comes to drugs and when it comes to weed. I do agree it is a gateway drug. I do agree it's not good for you. Even weed, I feel like weed has had this rebrand of, ever since it got legalized, at least in, California and in some states like that, that it's like okay, which it's okay, but like it's kind of it's kind of gotten this like rep where it's like not bad for you. When it is though, like it is bad for you. Weed is bad for you. You know, it is changing your body chemistry. Also, if you're smoking it, you're also inhaling smoke. That's also bad for you. Like scientifically, it is not good for you. And I really get annoyed when people are like, "Oh, like whatever, whatever, whatever." Because it is bad for you. I don't like when people like have rebranded into this like okay as if it's a healthy thing. It's not. It's not because it's not addictive. I think that's also why it's been branded to be like an okay, healthy, normalized thing. But I know people even far as back in high school where there was people who depended on like I had friends who depended on it so much to the point where they couldn't function without it. Like they couldn't go to sleep without it. And I feel like you could still, while it's not addictive, you could still build a dependency on it. And that's still bad. And I still think that's bad. And I still think it's a gateway drug. And I still, that's my hot take. Anyway, that all being said, when I was 18 years old, I was in this car with my friends, and I've never tried weed before. I've never thought I would, honestly. I never thought I would. I just always thought, I don't need to. And to this day, I still feel like I'm kind of okay with if someone was like, "Oh, you can never try it again," I'd be like, "Okay, that's chill." Like I really do not care. Like it's after this one experience, I was like, "You know what? I'm actually okay. I'm actually done with that. Like I'm good. I've tried it once. I'm good." But back to the car. I was talking about it with my friends. They've all smoked weed. And we were like, "Guys, what if we all made a trip and went to San Francisco because that's like the go-to place where I live because I live in Sacramento and San Francisco's only 2 hours away. It's like the nearest big city. What if we make a trip, go to San Francisco, and I smoke weed for the first time?" Like it was basically like we made a trip for my first time ever smoking. And which is actually such an 18-year-old thing to do. I feel like it's like, guys, let's make a big trip out of it. Let's like make this a thing and like go to San Francisco. And anyway, we booked a cheap hotel, like a cheap ass hotel because we're literally 18 years old. We don't have money. But let me not get too ahead of myself. So basically we make this plan. Also note, none of us wanted to drive our cars to San Francisco. I don't remember why we didn't want to. I just think no one was down to do that. Also, now thinking back, it's like San Francisco. I don't know if at that time, I feel like at that time it was probably still bad. Like San Francisco, it's kind of in a rough patch right now. You know what I'm saying? Cars get broken into very, very often there. So maybe that's why we didn't want to bring it. But I feel like also in general, none of us just wanted to drive and risk our cars and stuff like that. So, you know what we did as 18-year-olds? We took a bus. We took a bus. Yeah. Yeah. We booked a bus and we had one of our friends' parents drive us to the little bus stop, okay? And we took a bus to San Francisco. How luxurious, how bougie. I know we're rich. We're really rich. I remember on the bus I was reading Song of Achilles at the time. If that sets the time frame for you, the era. I remember I just started it and it was like the first half of the book. So the first half of the book is hella good. It's hella smutty. Y'all know. If y'all know, you know. So I was like really, really in that. And that's what I was doing on the bus. And also, I remember I lost my AirPods too. That was really, really annoying. I lost my AirPods on that trip and I had to buy a new pair of AirPods, which was so annoying. And we make it to San Francisco. It was chill. It was a very chill trip. And our hotel, whack. Like, I remember we were in a tiny little room with bunk beds. And there's 4 of us total. Imagine tiny, literally like just a tiny square room, tiny little bathroom, and bunk beds. Which honestly, now looking back, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a vibe. I love a bunk bed to this day. I just think it's so fun. But I just think that really showcases the time frame of our lives. Freshly graduated, no money. It's COVID. It's the pandemic. We got nothing to do. Yes, we're going to take a bus to San Francisco and book a cheap hotel with bunk beds to smoke the Mary Jane, to smoke the devil's lettuce for the first time. Yes. I don't know. At that time, I thought I was really mature too. I know, just like being grown people sleeping in bunk beds. It was just really, really funny. Anyway, from what I remember, we get to San Francisco at our bus stop and we have to walk kind of far to go to our hotel because the bus stop was just in this random spot. We walk to our hotel, we check in, and we're like, okay, let's go get the stuff. And one of my friends at the time got obviously we weren't of age to just buy it. So one of our friends had a medical card, but I remember like it was really easy to get. All you have to do is like, oh, I have some type of mental illness, and then they would give you a medical card to get the marijuana. You know what I'm saying? So one of my friends got it, and we were walking out, and we were all so like sussed out. Like I remember we were all being like secretive about it, and like huddling, like literally we weren't even in front of the dispensary. Like we were like a street away, and I remember we were like huddling, like trying to be super secretive and like talk about, okay, what should we get? What should we get? Blah 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 blah. But no one cares. We were in San Francisco. People are shooting heroin on the streets. Like no one gives a fuck if we are 18 years old trying to get weed. Like no one cares. But anyway, I knew nothing about weed, and honestly, to this day, I still don't know anything about weed. I don't even know, like, I know there's like two types of strains, and one makes you more calm and one makes you more like, you know what I'm saying? Don't know the differences. THC? Is that one? Is that one? Is that the crazy one? I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know. And I remember thinking, like, why would anyone want not the calm one? Like, why would you not want to choose the calm one? You know what I'm saying? So I remember like telling my friends, I'm like, okay, guys, I just want to do the calm one. Like the calm one, like I don't want to do the other one. Like, what's even the point of that one? That seems scary. And I just trusted my friends. I was like, just get me whatever, like a joint. I don't know, just get me what you guys think. So next thing you know, we give our friend the money, and our friend goes and gets it and comes back with it. And do you know where we go next, guys? If you guys know anything about Northern California, you guys know anything about San Francisco, you guys know where we're about to go. We took our butts to Dolores Park. Yep. Dolores Park is basically, I don't know, it's just a park, and there's a lot of people there, and a lot of people smoke in there. That's just the vibe of it. I remember I was really, really nervous. Not only just like, obviously, this is like just my first time. It's like, I know nothing about it. It's the first experience. But also at the time, I was kind of like, now looking back, I'm like, no one would have cared. But I was scared that like a subscriber would see me or something. And that was scary to me. Like, I felt like people would see me and look at me and recognize me and like be like, oh, what are you doing? And like judge me. And now think back, I'm like, no one would care. We're in San Francisco, we're in California. No one would care. But I just feel like at the time with the videos I was making, it was so out of character for me. And I was just paranoid. I was just really, really paranoid. Oh, I also remember when we sat down in Dolores Park, like my friends really wanted to do shrooms because they've never done it before. And there was this girl just like walking around yelling like shroom chocolate, selling shroom chocolate. And then like my friends wanted to try that, but then it was like super expensive or something, so they didn't get it. But that was actually really crazy that they were just gonna buy drugs off this random girl and do them. What the fuck? So let's just get into it. We sit down, my friend lights it up, and they're all like just smoking up this joint. I don't know what it is. Now I know what it is. It was definitely not the calm one, guys. It definitely was none of what they bought, guys, was the calm stuff, okay? I don't know why they decided to buy this stuff. And now you guys will hear these were definitely not the right friends to get high with for the first time. This was not the type of group I should have done it with, and no hard feelings for them. Like, I'm still friends with them to this day. I literally saw them a few weeks ago, and we're all still friends, but they know what they did. Y'all know what you did. I feel like if it was my first time, like someone should have taken care of me, but everyone was under the influence, so no one could really take care of me, which you guys will be hearing. So there was no chaperone. There was no DD of this experience. So they're smoking this joint, and then they hand it to me, and I'm like paranoid. I'm like looking around like this. I'm like, oh. And then I do one little hit, and I think I did it wrong. There also, again, I've never smoked anything in my entire life, so they had to teach me to like inhale, hold it for like a few seconds, let it go, stuff like that. I do that, and I do about 3 hits. I feel nothing, but they're like, wait it out. We'll see how it goes. So half an hour passes. I still feel nothing, like nothing's happening. So I don't know if it's like I did it wrong. That's probably the reason. I probably just did it wrong. But my friend ends up she wasn't smoking. She was actually doing edibles. She had this chocolate. And since I wasn't feeling anything, she was like, here, try this. And it was a tiny little piece of chocolate, 10 milligrams. 10 milligrams, not a lot. It's not a lot, apparently. I think it's not a lot to normal users. But for me, guys, it was a lot. Let me just say something. It was a lot. It was crazy. But she made it sound like it was nothing. Like, also, I don't know milligrams. Like, I don't know how much is a lot. I don't know what's the norm or whatever. But she was basically just telling me, like, no, like, I should do like 20 milligrams. Like, 20 milligrams is normal. 10 should be fine for you. So I was like, okay, let me try this. So I get this little piece of chocolate. I eat it. And then we wait. And this is the first thing I felt. I started feeling a pressure in my head. And like as if something was squeezing my head. And I remember telling friends, I'm like, guys, like is this it? Like I feel it. It's like I feel like this pressure in my head. And they're like, yes, yes, like that's like kind of what you should be feeling. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. Next thing you know, guys, I blink and it's like we teleported. I remember like asking them, is this how it should feel? Like I think I'm feeling it. And then I remember we were ordering an Uber to go back to our hotel or something. And I remember kind of getting into the Uber, but by then it has hit me. Like I am full on high. The chocolate, the edible, guys, if you guys have never done weed before, do not do an edible. Do not do an edible. It is just so potent. It's so strong. Everyone I've talked to about it was like, oh my God, you did an edible in your first time. Like, that is not the way to do it. It definitely was way too much for me. If you were going to do an edible, like, you should do like the tiniest, 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 tiniest amount of that. Not even 10 milligrams, Mike. I would do like, honestly, if I were to revert back in time, I would have done like 2.5. Like, genuinely. Anyway, back to the story. So we're in this Uber, right? And this is when it's full on hitting. So I don't really remember the Uber ride that much. I just remember like it was hitting me and I just like could not control my eyes and like I was like staring at my friends like crazy like this if you're a video watcher, but I was basically like wide-eyed staring at my friends like this and like my friends were laughing at me and like they could tell it hit me. They were like, "Oh, yep, Dustin's got it. Dustin's high. Yep, it's working now." And I was like, "This." And then next thing you know, I blink and we teleport and we're just teleporting. And that was a big part of the entire experience. I felt like I would blink and we'd be in a different place. And I would blink, like time was passing by so fast. It was just all a blur. And yeah, I would just blink and it would feel like I teleported throughout time. I'm like, how the F did we even get here? And I was full on hallucinating, which no one told me that can happen with weed. Like I thought my thoughts about weed was that you would smoke it and you'd just be really calm. You'd be really zen. You'd be very like, yeah, like Shaggy from Scooby Doo. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I did not know I'd be full on hallucinating. I did not know I would feel so paranoid and scared. It was horrible. Now, I did write down some details of like what I was feeling throughout this experience. So not only was I blinking and teleporting, but once we got into the hotel room, my friends were then while we're all high, they were relaying what the hell I was doing because I didn't remember. I was like, wait, guys, how did we get here? How are we in our hotel room? How did we get here? We were just at Dolores Park. How did we get here? And they're like, you don't remember? I'm like, no. And then they start relaying stuff that happened. And then because I didn't remember any of this stuff, I was getting so scared. I was getting so paranoid. I'm like, wait, how do I not remember this stuff? Like, oh my God, I'm losing control. Like, I don't have control of my body. And that was the scariest part. Like, I didn't have control over what I did, what I said, my body. And the fact that I didn't remember this stuff, I was scared of what I would do next. And here are some things that they told me I did on the way from Dolores Park back to our hotel from the Uber. So apparently I was just staring like crazy. And also, apparently, when the Uber dropped us off and opened the door for us, I Naruto ran outside the van, because it was a van. I Naruto ran outside the car. And I was just Naruto running everywhere. I do not remember that at all. And when they told me that, I was like, what? Okay. And then I remember in the hotel, like when we were going into the elevator, first of all, I was walking like a crazy person. And I was in the elevator and I just remember like staring at everyone so wide eyed and crazy and just like moving my eyes like this and like looking at my friends. And I was just like super paranoid in the elevator and looking at people. I was like thinking to myself, oh my God, do these people know we're high? Like, do these people know we're high right now? I don't know. Like, can they tell? Can they tell? I also got so thirsty. I remember I was so parched. And again, why this was not a good group to get high with the first time, because everyone else was so high out of their minds. None of them could take care of me. I was so thirsty. No one got me water. And I just did not drink water. I was just so thirsty the entire day and night and until I fell asleep. I was so dehydrated. I also like because I was hallucinating, I couldn't really control my body and I kept on feeling my face like this. I kept circling my face and feeling my face. I was like, I couldn't stop. And also since it was a bunk bed, I was on the bottom bunk. I kept putting my legs up onto the roof of the bunk bed and I couldn't stop doing that. Another thing was since I was so paranoid, I was paranoid that a subscriber saw me, which I don't know why I was so paranoid about subscriber because it's not like I was famous. Like I'm not famous. But at the time I was just super paranoid that I would like run into a subscriber while high and stuff. And also I was paranoid that I would post something on my Instagram. So I had my friend take my phone away. I was like, guys, take my phone away. Take my phone away. I can't. Like I might post something. I don't know. And then bada bing, bada boom, you know what happens? I start crying. I was full on stop. Maybe if I can find videos and photos, I will post it on Patreon. But I full on was sobbing and crying and like also I couldn't stop smiling. I remember that I couldn't stop like my muscles. It felt like something was like pulling me to smile. So I literally could not stop smiling the entire time. Even when crying, I couldn't stop smiling. I think I was crying because I couldn't control myself and that was making me like cry. And also I was getting like really paranoid and scared and also sad and insecure. Also at the same time, I couldn't like control my face muscles. So I was crying, but also like smiling. So I was like, so that was crazy. That's actually fucking crazy. If I can find videos of that, I will post it on Patreon. I'm pretty sure my friend has a video of me sobbing. And I remember in the video, I was like, Dustin, never do this again. Like, you hate this, never do this again. And to this day, like, I've never actually gone high again. I can't stop smiling. Oh my.
Hey, Dustin.
Oh, I literally cannot stop smiling. Like, I feel like this muscle is like pulling me up.
You guys,
Oh
Yeah.
like my jaw hurts. Like I feel like I'm doing jaws.
Okay, let me take a picture of your eyes.
Is it gonna flash?
Oh my god.
Wait, that'll blind me.
Your face is You guys, stop laughing. Stop laughing. Let's feel it for a second.
Wait, do you think anyone thought we were high?
No.
Was I acting weird in the car?
Yeah,
You
you're looking around.
No, I'm trying to like, control it so bad. Like I hate that. I look so ugly.
You were literally running like.
No, this is so embarrassing. Don't let anyone see me. Don't let anyone see me. Don't let anyone see me. No, I'm embarrassed that like it's affecting me and I can't remember what happened. No, I hate this.
I don't even.
Dustin watching this recording right now, don't do this again.
How did we get here?
Uber. I know.
Wait, no. One of us should have stayed sober. Guys, don't share this with anyone, okay? You got it?
Yeah. Your face.
That's you're good.
Oh.
How's it feel actually?
Not only though was I crying out of all those crazy emotions, but I was also doing like a 180 and I'd be crying. And then the next thing you know, a few minutes later, I'd be in front of the mirror and be like, I'm so hot. Oh my gosh. And I'd have this like crazy newfound confidence out of nowhere. It was crazy. I don't know what was happening. I was just like, my emotions were everywhere. I was doing 180s. Like I'd be crying. Literally my face probably still red. And then I'd look at myself in the mirror and be like, I'm so hot. Wow, yes. So after this in the hotel room, I don't know the time frame, but now it was like evening time, nighttime, and one of my friend's boyfriends was actually in the city at the same time as us. Him and his friend were going to offer to take us like to hang out. They wanted to hang out. Me being high out of my mind, I was like, I cannot hang out with them, guys. I cannot. And one of my other friends was also high out of her mind. So two of my other friends, they decided to go and we stayed back. So they go and I'm just like, talk to my friend. She's trying to like talk me down or whatever because she's very chill. She's kind of like this. Like she was high out of her mind, but she couldn't move her. But she was chill. She was the chill kind of high, you know? And we get a call from my friends. And it was basically another like, are you sure you guys don't want to come? Like, are you sure you guys don't want to come? And then I decided to change my mind. I was like, actually, I do want to go. So they let me go. Like my friend decided to stay back. She gave me my phone again when I told her not to give me my phone, but she gave me my phone anyway after I asked for it. And I went down by myself and I went out because at this point, my two friends who already left were already in the cars with her boyfriend and that other person. They let me go outside into the streets of San Francisco by myself. We were in a super nice part of San Francisco, guys. Like there were definitely, you know, a lot of unhoused people. There was a lot of, you know, there was a lot of interesting characters around. And they let me out into the streets of San Francisco, me just high out of my mind, not knowing what's happening, and just like walking around like this, like trying to find them or whatever. Like, that's actually crazy. That is so crazy that they let me out into the streets of this random city that I barely know, like having no control over my body, having no control over my mind. Like, I'm just so under the influence. That's actually really scary. It's funny, but it's also, when I think about it, I'm like, wow, that's actually really, really scary, and something bad really could have happened. But that being said, I hear some noise. I'm like, Dustin. I'm like, where's that noise coming from? Where's that noise coming from? And they're in the car, and I see a car. So I start walking towards this car. And then they're like, no, over here. I was going to get into a random ass car because I thought I was hearing their voices from that car. But they were the car behind them because I see their hands waving and stuff like that. So not only was I walking the streets of San Francisco by myself, but also almost got into a random ass car. Good thing I didn't. Next thing you know, I see their hands waving. I do get into the right car. So once I'm in the car or whatever, I'm like doing the awkward hellos and stuff because I haven't seen these bitches since high school. Like, her boyfriend I've never seen since high school, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, hey guys, like blah blah blah. Basically, they were doing the break. I think they've already got the breakdown of like what happened to me and what was happening with me. Because everyone else is fine, by the way. Like, yes, like everyone is super high, but everyone else is fine. I'm the only one that's like having a crazy bad experience and like greening out and paranoid and hallucinating and stuff like that. Everyone else is fine. Everyone else has like they're high, but they're still in control. They're still having a good time. I'm having an awful time. So once we were in the car, I had to get this random blanket and I had to cover myself with the blanket because I was so overstimulated. So just like imagine me, I'm just like in the middle of my two friends and I just have like a random blanket around. And these two people who I barely know are in the front driving us. Oh, I have this little bandana. If you're watching the video, this is going to be a very interesting demonstration. Imagine this, but like obviously I had a bigger blanket. Imagine this. And I'm just like just sitting like this. I'm like, hi guys, what's going on? Haha. No, like I'm having a really bad time. Like this is horrible. I hate this so much and I want it to go away, but it's lasting so long. Speaking of lasting, that's what she said. This high lasted all day. Like it did not fade. Even the next day, I still felt it. In the morning, I still felt like I was a little high. Like I could still feel it. It was so strong. And maybe because my body just wasn't used to it. Obviously, it's a very like my body has never done drugs before, so obviously it's like very sensitive to it probably. So it just was crazy. We decided to go to like the Fisherman's Wharf and to get like grilled cheeses and clam chowder. That's kind of the thing you do in San Francisco, you know what I'm saying? And with this blanket over my head, the people in the front, her boyfriend was like, Dustin, like you can cue a song. Like what song do you want to play? I wait a few seconds and I'm just like, Daniel Caesar. Like, hey, even when high, I got taste. What can I say? It was also just such a random choice. I was like, why did I say Daniel Caesar? But at the time, you know, it was 2021. I think he just released a new album. You know what I mean? And everyone was like, okay, Daniel Caesar. So they put on Daniel Caesar. Next thing you know, I'm full on singing. I'm like, who would have thought I'd get you? You know, like I'm singing. And a thing to know about me is like, even though I'm a songwriter, I have some music out, you know, I sing on the internet. I have major stage fright. Even to this day, I still have stage fright. I get really nervous singing in front of people and I still feel like I can't really sing properly in front of people. And back then, a few years back, I had even more stage fright. Like I could not sing in front of people. It was bad. But the fact that I was just singing in front of these people, that was very rare for me. And that's how you know I was hella out of my mind, because I would have never sang in front of someone because I get so self-conscious and my voice tenses up, but I was like singing in front of them and that was kind of crazy. And then actually I remember going back and I was like, or the next morning I was like, guys, did I sing last night? And they were like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, was it good? And they're like, actually, yeah. And I was like, wait, hell yeah. I have a hard time like singing like well in front of people. Like when I'm nervous in front of people because of the stage fright thing, my voice tenses up. So I feel like I never sing well in front of people because it's so tensed up. So I end up just like singing lower and it's just like not amazing. So honestly, if anything, at least I got that experience of like singing in front of someone without having stage fright and being scared. But love me some Daniel Caesar, right? So maybe it was Daniel Caesar that pulled through for me. I don't know. Daniel Caesar has such good music. Do y'all listen to Daniel Caesar? I love Love Again. That song with Brandy he has. Oh my gosh. That's such a good song. That's such a good song. If you can take my hand, I promise you'll find love. I think that's how it goes, right? So after that, after the little Daniel Caesar karaoke sesh, we make it. We get some clam chowder. We get some grilled cheeses. I'm not even huge on clam chowder like that. I remember I thought it was kind of mid, and also I remember it was freezing too, and I had no jacket on, and me and my friend, we had to like, oh, I remember we had to like share a blanket, that random blanket I found in the car. And also I remember in the car, I was like, whose water is this? Whose water is this? Because there was a water bottle in the cup holder. I was like, whose water is this? Because I haven't had a sip of water since I got high, and I was so thirsty. I don't know if I even waited for anyone to answer. I just took the water bottle, opened it, and just started drinking it. And then I drank it all, and I was like, wait, guys, whose water was this? And nobody knew. And then that even like made me spiral even more, because I was like, oh my god, did I just drink someone's random water? And at the time, I guess I was a germaphobe. I was like, and again, I was also in a paranoid mood, so I was like, oh my god, what if like that had like some weird stuff in it? Wrapping this up, because honestly, I don't remember anything else that happened after the clam chowder. I think, again, I was blinking and teleporting. Next thing you know, we're in bed and we all fall asleep. And then the next morning, we go to this breakfast place. We're just dead silent. We're all just dead silent. And then we just go home. We just get our bus ride home. I remember it was a very silent trip back home. I remember that. I think we were all just like so out of it. We just all kind of got hit by a truck, especially me. That was my experience smoking weed for the first time and taking a road trip to San Francisco to smoke weed for the first time. Honestly, while not the best experience, I wouldn't change it for the world. I think it built character, and after that experience, it also made me never want to smoke weed again, which honestly, good for me. I'm glad. All right, that was the story time. I kind of wish I saved this for April. Should I have made this story time for April? Let's see. Does it fall on... actually, the podcast doesn't fall on... Oh, actually, maybe it does. No, it doesn't, because 420 is on a Sunday. Oh my god, 420 is Easter. This year, Easter falls on 420. That's crazy. I was like, oh, maybe I should have saved it for April, because that's like obviously 420, and I could have done that. But I post this podcast on Fridays, and it doesn't fall on 420, so it's fine. But that was the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I feel like my storytelling skills is kind of rusty, so sorry if it was all over the place. I honestly didn't plan it out. I wrote down little notes, but I didn't really plan out like what I was gonna say, jokes wise and like delivery wise. But that's basically what happened. That was my story. Now let's get deep in the passenger seat. This is the segment where I answer your guys' questions and or give you guys advice, and I get those questions from Patreon. So if you guys would like to ask me a question or need advice on something, you can ask me on Patreon. All right, we got a few questions, and these are all from George. What is your process for songwriting / where and who do you pull inspiration from? My process is kind of different every single time. I only also have 2 songs out, so I'm still trying to develop my songwriting process, but I'm kind of trying to stay open to any process at all. But usually what it starts with is some sort of lyrics. I have so many notes on my phone of just like a bunch of random lyrics, a lot of one-liners. Sometimes it even starts with just one word. Just like a word that I want to either title the song or just one word that I really, really like, and I'll build a song over like around that word. But usually it does start from like some type of lyric. And then I'll try to add some chords on top of that and try to sing the lyrics with the chords and make my own melodies. And that's usually how I start with the song. But I also have started with like a loop. I have been sent loops. Like that's how I made my song No Daughter of Mine, was through a loop that I was sent, and I wrote a little chorus over the loop, and that's also how, and then I just worked with the producer to develop it more, add the verses and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I start. That's how the songwriting process kind of goes, is usually I do start with lyrics. But I know a lot of people tend to start with like chords and build like a random melody and then put words on top of that, which I want to start doing, but I find it hard because I'm not a master guitar player. It's pretty hard for me. I will say, like, it's like definitely my strongest suit is in the lyrics. My weakest suit is when it comes to actually making interesting chords and melodies and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's personally how I do it. I usually start with lyrics. And I feel like there's actually a lot of songwriters out there that do start with lyrics. As for who I pull my inspiration from, I pull it from like so many people, whoever I'm listening to. A lot of singer-songwriters. I love indie pop. I love singer-songwriters. I love Lord. I think Lord, what I really love about music and what I want in my music is I want to have like really interesting songs, a lot of diversity in my songs. I want it to be able to be also like danceable and fun, but also have like, my sad songs. And um I want it to I lyrically I love metaphorical lyrics. I love lyrics with a lot of metaphors, lyrics that you can dissect, but also lyrics that are not too flowery where the audience can't understand what the song is about. I feel like that's some actually I do enjoy that sometimes with certain artists, but for my personal music, I would like it to be somewhat digestible. So, and I think Lorde does it so well where her lyrics are so smart and so poetic, but also if you read through the lyrics, you can still dissect it and understand the meaning of the song. I think other people that do this very well is like Lizzie McAlpine. I love SZA as well. I don't think I really pull inspiration from her at all, but I really admire her songwriting. I think it's just the most interesting type of songwriting. I think she rhymes in such an interesting way and structures it in such an interesting way. And yeah, I think SZA is such a unique lyricist. And who else do I love? I do love like Olivia Rodrigo, but I think I wouldn't say I take inspiration from her because I think she's a bit too like straightforward for me, while I like a little bit more, again, metaphorical. I'm really blanking on who else I pull inspiration from. Sarah Kinsley. I don't know. I love Zero. I don't know if I necessarily pull inspiration from anyone specifically. I pull inspiration from the general ideas. Like I love, you know, metaphors. I love when you let let the listener think about the lyric and dissect it. I like that. I also like wordplay. I also love when people use simple words. Because I know obviously you can, pull a Taylor Swift and just you can throw a bunch of big words in there. But I love when people are able to use simple vocabulary but make the meaning and the lyrics complex, if that makes sense. I don't know if any of that made sense, but yes. Moving on, where do you see yourself and your career in 10 years? I have no idea. In 10 years, I will be 32 years old. Where do I see myself? Hopefully a bit more stable. I would love that. I would love because obviously I think a lot of people fear in their 20s being lost and not having a grasp on their life and what they want. But I think I can realize that that's just a part of being in your 20s, and I kind of just accepted that fact early on that like this is just what your 20s is like it's kind of crazy, it's unpredictable. You should take risks, you should just explore and try new things. And that's kind of how I accepted what my 20s is going to be. But in 10 years, I hope that kind of slows down a little bit and I'm able to stabilize and realize and have a better grasp on who I am and what my life is. And yeah, hopefully I have a cute place. I would love like my own home and have it like decorated really well and cute. And hopefully I would love, I think, a partner maybe. That'd be really cool to live with. And yeah, I feel like 32 would be a really, if I have a partner at 32, hopefully that'd be sick. And as for my career, I hope I'm still in the creative industry, the entertainment industry. I just really love it so much. I hope maybe I'll start a business at that time. I don't know. Hopefully I'm still making music and doing music stuff and have developed that to the point where I can do that full time. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I guess overall I just hope I am very happy, comfortable in my career and life, and hopefully just stable. Very stable. And if I'm really rich, that'd be cool too. Ayo, if I'm really wealthy, that'd be sick. If I have a boat that I can go on in the summertime, that'd be really cool too. I haven't really thought about myself in 10 years. That's like a really far time away. I try to think of myself more in like a year or two span. I think a year or two ahead. I don't really ever think 10 years ahead. That's kind of crazy for me. Advice on feeling behind in life compared to peers. That's hard because I feel that all the time behind my peers, even though it depends on the environment. When I was in LA, I felt behind, but being back home or whenever I did live at home, I felt very ahead. So it's kind of interesting. I think it depends on your environment and who you surround yourself with. But I think that's also good to realize that everyone is on a different path and on a different timeline. And ev- everyone is still living life, though, at the end of the day. I think what you need to realize is like everyone has different circumstances, everyone has different privileges. And also, you can put yourself in any different type of environment and feel a different way. Like, for example, like I just said, in my hometown, I feel ahead. But when I was in LA, surrounded by other friends, I felt behind. So I think you just need to realize everyone's on their own path. You, as long as you are enjoying your own life, I think you will not feel like you're behind. So I think that's something you should actually focus on is look into your life and are you enjoying your life right now? Are you enjoying what you're doing? Are you practicing gratitude for the things you do have? And then that will in return help you not compare yourself to other people and to your peers, and you won't feel behind because you'll love your life so much. So I think that's what it's about. It's about being present. It's about making sure the things you can control in your life you are doing, and you are working on yourself. At the end of the day, like there's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone who's living a more lavish life than you, and it's about your mindset. It's about if you are grateful and enjoying your own life and happy, because there's always going to be someone more ahead. There's always going to be someone more behind. So you kind of just have to accept that. Okay, moving on to what's on Aux this week, which is where I share my favorites of the week. On Aux, music. I've been listening to a lot of Them and I. I really love their music. Very melancholy, very easy listening, acoustic. I've been loving Them and I. Kind of all their songs are good. I've still been listening to new SZA, Cry Baby especially. I've been loving that song. And I also found this song yesterday called I Amor, AY and then AMOR. It's a Spanish song, I believe, by Celine's, Selines, SELINES. I've been liking that song. I found it only yesterday, but I think it's a good song. I also watched One of Them Days this past week, which is that new movie with Kiki Palmer and SZA, and was like made by Issa Rae. Pretty fun movie. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, it's the best movie ever. It's going to be a comedy classic. I don't believe so. Like, that movie is definitely going to go on Amazon Prime. You know what I'm saying? But I still think it was a very fun movie. And I would recommend you guys to watch it once. You know, like, I think it's just a fun movie overall. I love Kiki Palmer. I think SZA, for it being SZA's first time acting, I think she did a pretty okay job at it. Like, she wasn't bad at all. And I think overall it was a fun movie, and it was kind of funny. I wouldn't say it's the most funny movie, but I think it was kind of funny, and I had a fun time watching it, you know? And also Abbott Elementary. I've really been loving Abbott Elementary, especially the newer episodes have been super good. I've been loving it. Honestly, probably one of my favorite shows right now. I just rewatched the episode where they take a field trip to the park and do like a little relay race against the other school. I love that episode so much. And I think I need to rewatch it because I kind of forgot how good it is and how funny it is. Lastly, my favorites are some objects. This past weekend, I went to an estate sale and I love a puka shell necklace, and I thrifted a puka shell necklace a few years ago. It was a vintage puka shell necklace, and I've worn it every summer since I got it for the past few years. And this past summer, when I was in Australia, I lost it. I was devastated because it was my favorite. And something about a puka shell necklace, I don't care if people think it's corny. I don't care if people think it's tacky. I love a puka shell necklace, and I will be wearing it if I'm near a body of water. I'm wearing a puka shell necklace. I don't care. So I would wear that, and I lost it. And I was so sad. But then this past weekend, I was on an estate sale, and I found another puka shell necklace, very similar to my other one. I hate when a puka shell necklace is like super rigid and uneven, but this has all like pretty even shells, and it's also vintage. And yeah, I was just really happy that I found this. So yeah, I found a replacement vintage puka shell necklace, and it was only $1. So that's one of my favorites. And then lastly, I've been loving pajama sets. I feel like we need to bring back the pajama set, especially on guys. Like, I know we love like the little plaid flannel pajama pants and then we just throw on a random t-shirt, but something about wearing a pajama set, it makes you feel so put together. It's a bit romanticized. And I don't have that many pajama sets, and I'm not recommending these pajama sets specifically to guys because honestly, I don't think it's like these brands necessarily are like my favorite. It's just the idea of a pajama set in general. But I have these like blue striped short sleeve ones that I got when I was 17 years old. Literally just got this off Amazon and I still wear it to this day. I have this long sleeve one, and this is like white with bees on it that my friend gave me a few years back. Super cute. And I've just been wearing those to sleep. It just makes me feel very put together. It makes me feel like, oh, it's bedtime, very romanticized, very cool. I don't know. I love a pajama set. Okay, that is all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed listening and had fun. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Honestly, maybe tell your guys' own story times. I would love to know your guys' experience if you guys partake in the Mary Jane, you know what I'm saying? And I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Bye.
Emotion. What type of emotion?
You know what? Just be happy you have never tried shrooms, Dustin. You're for sure have to go to therapy. Just seeing how you're reacting with the marijuana and the shrooms.
Did I take a lot?
Dustin,
No.
that was,
No.
Dustin,
You barely
like,
said
I acted like that my first time too.
No, my first time, Dustin, let me tell you.
My first time,
My
it was
first
crazy.
time, it was I thought I was gonna get out. You know,
No.
Oh my god, I
You know,
fucking
have
hate
you watched
this.
the movie?
Ah, future Dustin, never do this again. What if a subscriber saw me?
No.